The trade market for Antonio Brown is heating up. A couple teams have reportedly reached out. There'll probably be a couple more. All right, what's it going to take? Then you got to touch base with Drew Rosenhaus, and what's it going to take to sign him to a long-term deal? He said last week on his IG Live, you got guaranteed money, holla. Which is really what most of this is about. This is about a front-loaded contract that he signed, an extension that he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now the money is up. Now they can cut him whenever they want, and he wants guaranteed cash. It's really smart business from the Steelers. It's really, I think, bad business from Antonio Brown. But he's going to be rewarded with some sort of new contract wherever he goes. And to his point, look, if, a wide receiver who hadn't proven himself to be healthy for an entire season or be a number one threat like Sammy Watkins is worth $16 million to the Kansas City Chiefs, what am I worth on the open market? I guess we'll find out. But a couple of the teams rumored are fascinating. And how many people have said, well, why aren't the Patriots? Because the Patriots need somebody outside the numbers. Almost seems unfair, but they've been searching for a wide receiver. But do you really think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go like, you know what we'll do? Let's do business. Let's give the Patriots our best offensive weapon. Let's give it to the Patriots, the team that we think took our spot in the Super Bowl 2 years ago because of the catch rule. Like, they're trying to avoid the AFC. So you cut off half the teams, and now you got 16 left, right? And if you think around and you think about a couple of these teams rumored, some make sense and some don't. The first thing you have to do is you better have a veteran quarterback. You can't have a guy that he's going to walk all over. Call for the ball, cry for the ball. You got to have somebody who can stand up to him, and also the media can go like, hey, you know what? You're not always open. So you got to cut out like half the guys in the NFC, right? I mean, he ain't going to play in Carolina because we don't know if Cam's back this year, and that just, you got to have a big target area. That doesn't seem, the Steve Smith thing didn't work. I don't see that. Atlanta's already got their superstar wide receiver. They don't, the money wouldn't work. It doesn't seem like it'll fit. Like, I'm kind of working through in my mind, like New York Giants, they already have Odell Beckham Jr., whether they want to keep him or don't. Washington doesn't even have a quarterback. The Cowboys seem good with Amari Cooper. They got to pay him $14 million, give him a new deal. Like Jerry Jones, would it make sense to? Yeah, but it almost seems like too much. Like the Eagles, I don't see it. I don't see them. They went and got Golden Tate last year, but that's for a third-round pick or a second. I can't remember what round pick. You don't want to go to Detroit. You don't want to go to Chicago because their quarterback's young. Maybe the Bucs, Bruce Arians, right? You're trying to, now you'd have a dynamic wide receiving duo. Like, okay. And Bruce Arians, had been in Pittsburgh and then had success in Indy and had success in Arizona. Like, okay. But the two most prominent teams that need a wide receiver, that have a superstar, future Hall of Fame quarterback, that have been rumored and are in the NFC are the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. And one makes sense, one doesn't. Now, Green Bay has other talented wide receivers like a Devontae Adams. They seem to figure out the running game. And they have Aaron Rodgers, who's a veteran quarterback who can make every throw and simply needs somebody to get open. And that was kind of their offense previously, which is like, hey, everybody go out and get open and Aaron will find you. And then if you're not open, he'll run around and then he'll find you again. And if you're not open, he's going to throw it to a place where nobody. And the rest of the league's like, yeah, well, they're not that good. And their coach got fired. Then you have the New Orleans Saints, who have Michael Thomas, right? Who's super talented, but more of a great route runner, precision guy. And with Ted Ginn out half the year, they were searching for that other guy, and Ted Ginn's been good. Ted Ginn did make that jump ball catch that could have, if a pass interference was called, could have put the Saints in the Super Bowl. But like anyone who's seen Ted Ginn enough knows, he's a number 2, if not a number 3. Right? There's a reason that Ted Ginn has been in like five different teams. He's a little bit like Stonehands from Necessary Roughness. Like, if he catches it, great. He can always run. But you had Drew Brees, and you have Michael Thomas, and then you put him, and you have Alvin Kamara, who's like a wide receiver that also plays running back. Like, yes, please. There's Saints fans going, oh, yeah, give me some of that. That's great. Give me some of that drug right into my vein. Give me some of that Saints offense. Oh, that's amazing. But one makes sense and one doesn't. You want to know which one makes sense? Saints make sense. This is Sean Payton, right? Sean Payton, who, look, they overspent to get a defensive end last year, so they don't have a first-round pick, but second-round pick, like, all right. He overspent on a defensive lineman. He overspent really on Teddy Bridgewater, who started one game for him. A third-round pick, he was really worth a fourth or a fifth at that point in the season. They've been known to overspend more than anything. He's not only a great play caller, but he has the respect and credibility to go like, no, we're not going to throw it to you every time. This is the way we do things. Whereas the Green Bay Packers have a guy who knows Sean McVay, right? Like, I know there's more to it than that, but there's a little bit. That's at least a little bit of it, right? Like, if I said, who is the Green Bay Packers' new head coach? If you're not a Packers fan, you'd be like, the guy who knows Sean McVay. Like, yeah, there's a little bit more to it than that, but okay. And therein kind of lies the rub. If you really want, do I think the Green Bay Packers should go out and get him? I do. But be very cautious of how he handles Matt LaFleur. He walked over Mike Tomlin, though Mike Tomlin is a guy that allows star players to have a ton of rope that they may, as he did, hang himself with. Sure. But Mike Tomlin's won a Super Bowl, generally a respected guy, and a guy who can be confrontational. Here's a guy who thinks that rules don't apply to him. Don't apply to him. I don't have to show up. I can show up when I want to show up. And then he starts blaming everybody else. And it's really about money. How does that work? I don't know. The Saints one makes sense. And look, I don't think Drew Brees is nearly the Drew Brees of old. They've kind of hit it with their offense, with the complexity of finding mismatches and making all those throws. Like, he can't throw the ball downfield anymore. I think he would have a chance to be much happier playing with Aaron Rodgers. And he's played in the cold. That hasn't bothered him. Cold, the rain, poor turf in Pittsburgh, doesn't matter. Like, Antonio Brown is ridiculously good. I have nothing bad to say about him when he's out running routes to catch footballs. But the interaction with an unproven head coach and with a quarterback who can turn on you in a heartbeat, that's a buyer beware. Whereas you have a Super Bowl winning coach, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a guy who understands I need guys to make plays for me. They have other people so that he's not constantly facing a double team. They play in a dome, which will hide Drew Brees' lack of arm strength. Hell, they play half their road games in domes as well. But more than anything, you got Sean Payton, who's a great play caller and knows how to handle egos. That's why he was the one who could reach out to Dez Bryant. Not just his history with the Dallas Cowboys, but his respect within the league and his ability to tell Dez Bryant where he can stick it if Dez Bryant goes crazy on the sideline, right? I'm not saying that Matt LaFleur can't handle Antonio Brown. We just have no way of knowing whether he can handle Antonio Brown. One seems like a really good idea. The other seems like it's got potential for disaster written all over it. And I frankly kind of want to see the Packers just because of the talent, but also because of the ability to maybe see what's a potential disaster. Like, I like that kind of stuff.